Walk with me. So I really believe that every single one of us, yes, you and me, and everyone walking with us today around the world, no matter who we are, where we're from, we were all created to create. To create. That word just has an energy to it. We were created to create. We are creative beings by nature. And that word create can mean a bunch of different things. And I want to get into that. But I also want to say that while I believe that all of us were created to create, most of us don't. At least not enough. Not the amount or percentage of our life we were designed or created to. We don't. Somehow, some way, at some point over the last couple generations, we have somehow slipped back where so much of our energy no longer is in creating, but somehow we've been consumed by consumption. Somehow we've gone from creators to consumers, from creation to a overwhelming amount, a daunting amount of just consumption all the time, everywhere. And that is such an issue, I think, right now, this consumer mentality, this consumer society, this consumption behavior, this consumption norm that we're in. And I want to talk about what I mean by consumption more than what you think when I say that word consume. And I'm willing to bet as we have this dialogue, you're going to be smiling and nodding and saying, yeah, maybe you individually, many of us walking together today, spend too much time consuming. And this conversation, my hope, is to inspire a shift to more of our life, more of our time creating. Before we get into the conversation today, I'm going to ask, who's by my side today? Beautiful day, Santa Monica Mountains, sun is shining. Man, I got a good workout going, out of breath, good pump, ran fast up the hill today. I'm going to ask, hey, who's walking with us today? If you're catching us live, let me know. If you're catching the replay, we love you. If you're outside the US, drop a flag emoji or tell us what country you're from. International, global audience walking together. If you're new to the crew, welcome. We walk together live, usually weekly, usually on Wednesdays. Walk with me Wednesday. Jot your calendar. And the only thing I ask is that collaborate, participate, engage like we were all together in unity today, no matter where you are geographically. Participate, comment below, ask some questions, give us some input, share some perspective, agree, disagree. That adds value to me. I read all the comments and those that are by your side as well here today. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Live by Design, pretty much everywhere podcasts are available. So pick your platform, subscribe, catch past conversations. We've had some good ones. So consume, consumption, this consumerism. I'm sure when I say that word, right, consume, you have meaning, right, or definition that you tie to it. Maybe the first thing that comes to your mind when you say the word consume or think consume is like what we eat, right, what we physically consume every single day. And I don't want to take up all our time today talking about the effects of overconsumption in our diet, but I'll just state the reality that it's there, right? We've been battling obesity statistics and rising numbers for so long, you can't even count these days. I mean, there's so many documented fact, stats, studies on the detriment it's causing to people's health. That's been well talked about. I'm not going to get into all of that, but I will point out it's true. When we talk about consuming, yeah, I'm talking about literally. We've turned into over consumers of what we put into our bodies for a number of reasons. But my conversation on consumption today is way more than just a conversation on diet. When we talk about consumption, I'm also talking about how we have slipped into this radical consumerism period where we overbuy things, overvalue things, overdesire things, all the time. And a lot of that has to do with, over the last few decades, the Industrial Revolution first propelling our economy by making things, and then the shift into media, early media, the ability to influence, some may use the word manipulate, people into believing what they need and what they want through very sophisticated storytelling and messaging, to fast forward today where you got new media all the time, everywhere, smarter than ever, where our phones can literally hear what we're talking about to our friends, serve dynamic advertisements instantly on the next scroll, matching exactly the conversation and pointing you to the thing at that moment that you want, with clever headlines and imagery to give you the visceral reaction, the dopamine hit to click. It's crazy, the world we live in. Some of you guys are like, that happened to me this week. I was talking about so-and-so and it appeared on my Instagram feed. Yes, that is real. That's not made up. It's real. Combine that with the nature of everything on demand, an Amazon era, where one click away you can get anything delivered right to your door in days, is definitely accelerating this concept of hyper consumption. I mean, it's biological, right? It gives us a good feeling. It gives us a dopamine hit, right? A moment of serotonin, a feel good physically, biologically in our body. Like, there's a lot of reasons that things have become so prevalent. And I'm just as guilty, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this to be critical by any means. I'm probably one of the worst. I mean, the Amazon guy definitely knows my dog. They're buddies, right? They're there hanging out almost every day. And it's crazy. But I am aware of it. And that's the conversation I want to have. Consuming things. I've dove into a lot of the different philosophies. How many of you have watched a documentary or read a book or listened to a podcast on the minimalism or minimalist philosophy? And they raise a lot of good points. There's also a great book out there called Essentialism, and kind of a growing conversation. Essentialism, kind of a different level, not quite minimalism, but essential things that we find essential to our life, which raises a lot of good points. And I'm a student of all of these, and I urge you guys to be the same. And I believe in a lot of the philosophies, and I can give you a simple analogy. Like, we can feel an added weight, an added stress when we have too many things around us. We think we own things, but the reality is the more things we own, the more the things own us. The more things we have, the more we're afraid to lose. The more things we have, the more we try to hold on to, the more we regret, right? Not having. I mean, all these feelings are real. And we've all gone through the period where maybe we did a spring cleaning, or maybe in the giving season we do donations and give back, and you go through and clear out all the things that you haven't used for a while, and what you managed to give away, right, reluctantly, you feel kind of weight lifted. You guys, it is true. It's an energy, right? Things carry an energy. Too much around us we feel when we give it away and let go. It is a weight release. So these are things I know we can all relate to when I talk about consumerism, nonstop buying, constantly being influenced into things that we want or need to make us feel better, or give us the impression of self-worth, or increase our self-status in the world, our identity tied to all of these. And beyond just things, we think consume or consumption, information, probably more radical than either of the things I'm talking about. More than food and more than objects, we have become radical consumers of information at speeds and frequencies more than ever in human history. We consume bits of information, headlines, memes, post copies, social media, news clips, tweets, sound bites, information, text messages, Facebook messages, Telegram messages, WhatsApp messages, audio clips, input. It's just draining even talking about it. Consumers of information, and most of that information being negative information, not positive, negative headlines. What's going wrong? Fear tactics. And guys, all by design. This stuff's proven. It's talked about. We as people flock moths to flames around negativity, fear-based information more than positivity. If positivity sold, if good news sold, if we grabbed attention to positive headlines, don't you think media would be leading with that? But fact is, we don't. We click faster when our fear response is triggered. And most of these platforms, they're in the business of attention. They're in the business of our time. Their business models depend on our time and our focus and our attention, advertising driven. So obviously they're going to use the things that get the click, that keep us on the platforms, eyes glued. So because all these things have created a radical consumption behavior. What we eat, what we buy, what we see, hear, experience. And the reality is we were created to create. When I say create, you guys, create can mean a lot of different things. A lot of times the first feeling when we think about creating, we think about something tangible. We think about being an artist, right? Creating music or creating, art or drawing or an object. And yeah, that is creation. And many of you have talents out there. You are creators. You're able to take an idea and turn it into, something through your arts. What I love today about the platforms and technology we have, don't get me, it's not all wrong, is it allows any one of us to be a creator. I love the term the platforms use. They even use the term, you're a creator. When you're creating content, you're creating a post or a video or a reel or a TikTok or a blog or a meme, you're creating. That's tapping into creative energy. That's tapping into taking an idea, turning it into something and transferring that to others. That's creation. Putting us back into the energy that we were designed to be. And I love that. It gives us all an outlet to create. It gives everybody a stage, a platform, a channel. Anybody can get the eyeballs. Anybody can be put in a position to create through social media today. Entrepreneurs out there. Entrepreneurs, I think, are some of the best creators in the world. Entrepreneurs, by definition, are creators. They take an idea, they turn it into a business, a concept, a thing that can transfer value, that can make an impact. Right? Creation. You guys, every one of us were designed to create in some way, shape, or form. Every one of us have talents and gifts we were given. And the reason we were given those talents and gifts weren't to sit back and consume and live reactively, but to create, to live proactively, to add value and contribute to others. To consume is to live reactively. To create is to live proactively. To consume is like to live your life on defense. To create is to like live your life on offense. To consume is to be walking around every day by default. To create is to be walking around every day by design. And I wanted to have this conversation today just to bring awareness to, we have a consumption problem, not just what we eat, also what we buy, but also what we're allowing into our senses every single day. And don't get me wrong, we need consumption on all levels to some extent, but we are way out of whack. What percentage of your day is consuming right now versus creating? What percentage of your week is consuming versus creating? What percentage of your month is consuming versus creating? What percentage of your last year is consuming versus creating? My challenge for all of you is to make a shift to more creation. Whatever the percentage has been for you the last day, week, month, year, now it's a level of awareness to make a change, to make a shift to more creation. And mark my words, the more you create, the more on fire you're gonna be. The more you create, right, the more you're gonna feel alive. The more you create, not only the happier you'll be, but the more value you're gonna be able to provide to those around you, the bigger impact you're gonna be able to have, and the bigger the contribution you're gonna be able to give. So let's make the shift. Less consumption, more creation. Thank you guys for the time today. If you got something from this conversation, let me know in the comments below. If someone came to your mind or your heart, tag them or press share to share it with your community. Catch past podcasts on Alive by Design, subscribe, rate, review. Until the next time we walk together, here's to more creation. You are a creator. Make sure you bring that to the world. Take care, everybody.